You are live. I'd like to think so. But you never know, right? Let me go to this page. I've got to turn that off. But you never, almost forgot. Almost forgot. Okay. Got that there. That. Hello, hello. Just let me cross my I's and dot my T's. And we will begin. It's a shitty day here. It's all overcast and it's raining and it's cold and everything is grey. But the good news is I got 2 bananas now. Or should I say not 2 bananas, 2 banana trees. They're only bubby ones. I didn't want to take big ones because 1, they're a bitch to dig out, I discovered. And 2, I wanted to pot them rather than to put them in the ground. So I took 2 and they kind of look really cute sitting out there in my backyard. I will at some point take a video of how things are progressing out there. What I do want to do is wait maybe until some more people come in. And the reason for this is I'm going to share some stuff with you guys. When I come across something interesting, I like to share it. And maybe you've seen it before, maybe you haven't. I don't know, but we're gonna do it anyway, because like I always say, it's not like we all follow the same people. So don't be shy, jump in and say hello. Nobody's going to bite you. So yeah, what else is new in this neck of the woods while I'm waiting? I've been gardening. Like I said, extra 2 nannies. I rearranged my pots outside. I spread potting mix / mulch on all my trees and my plants. What else have I done? This coming weekend, back to painting again, but not at my house. Hello, T. What else? Apart from that, I've just been reading the odd thingy, trying to catch up on videos, checking my subscription list to see who's been literally knocked off it, who I need to re-add. Just checking to see. It's always good to go through. Hello, Fred. It's always good to go through and check to see whose channels have been obliterated off YouTube. But yeah, is your country protesting? Is my country protesting? Well, I don't know if they're protesting. I mean, we're all bitching on YouTube. Is anybody out in the street? Well, I hear that something is going to be happening in September. I know New Zealand did, because I actually watched the live stream of that. Not a lot of people. Sad to see that there's not a lot of people out there, but yeah, as far as Australia goes, I mean, shit, the last lot of protesting that I heard about, that there was supposed to be, every state was supposed to be protesting. I didn't even see one video on it. Did not even see one fucking video on it. Nowhere. I searched YouTube. I even asked if anybody has seen a video on it. So did the protests happen? Didn't they happen? I don't know. Were they squashed before they happened? I know that people are being picked up and arrested, and I know that there was one elderly gentleman who was arrested and charged, saying that he was inciting or trying to create a protest. I think that happened even before the protest happened. So yeah, I'm not kind of, hey Wanda, I'm not kind of clued up on that, but I'll start sharing with you guys, because if I wait for other people to come in, time flies when you're having fun and talking and shit like that. So yeah, I don't really want to be going all the way into the afternoon. I'm in Perth, Western Australia. Yeah, I'm in Perth. I'm on the west coast of Australia. Victoria, Melbourne, which is copying it the worst. Hey, Frida C. Been a while. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, Victoria, Queensland, New South Wales, that's all on the east coast of Australia. I'm on the west. I'm about as far away from all of that as you could possibly get, and I'm trying to get away even further. I'm going to be migrating to Antarctica soon. Who knows? Maybe I'll even find myself a little island and just go there and fucking eat coconuts all day. Watch the sun go down, sun come up, wonder what the eastern cedars are doing over in those continents over there. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. Listen, if anybody wants to come up, okay, because, I mean, obviously while we're watching, I'll put the link in the description. And if anybody wants to come up, by all means do so. As I always say, people, everybody's entitled to an opinion. We don't have to agree. We don't have to like each other's opinions, but please do not insult each other or whatever, because that's one thing that I don't tolerate. I don't time people out. I ban them permanently. So we're all looking for the truth. My opinion may differ from your opinion, but fuck it, we're both allowed an opinion. You know what I mean? So I'm going to drop the link. So if anybody wants to come up, oh, Wanda, listen, that's kind of everywhere. I don't think it's just in the US. Oh wow, cool. Good to hear that, Mike. Good to hear that. I don't think there's a place to migrate to. We have to oh, listen, everybody has to stand up. I mean, that's just an obvious thing, but at the moment, it's not really, we're being outweighed. The people that do want to stand up and the people that just don't, that are still falling for all of this. The numbers just, it's not even half. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm going to drop a link. So if somebody wants to come up, like I said, I'm just going to be watching most of this stuff to begin with. It's not long, right? And I will put where the original videos are from in the description after we're done. So if you want to go check it out yourself. And I think a lot of you will find it interesting hey, Swami, and I think you can actually pull it to bits, okay? Which I'm hoping after I show all of this to you guys, then I'm going to go over to the actual comic thing, and maybe we can pull it to bits a bit more. So if you want to jump on up, like I said, the first part of it, you'll just have to mute and we'll watch, but then after that we can discuss it, okay? So I'll drop the link in chat, and then I'm going to go share screen. If you can't hear it or whatever, if you can't hear it properly, let me know, because I still haven't been able to find where it says share audio. I went into the cam thingy and I thought that's something that I had to check, but I still can't find when you're actually playing a video where I need to click on it that says to share the audio. I am. No dramas, Wanda. Do what you got to do, mate. Thanks for stopping in. But you'll find this extremely interesting. That's all I can tell you, because I know I did. Okay. All righty. Okay, so this first thing here, right, this is going back. Partly cloudy. Hey, mate. The first part of this is, right, as you can see, pandemic preparedness in the next administration. So they were talking about pandemics before Trump even got in. And this is January 10, 2017. Okay, 2017, right? And just listen to what Fauci says, and then we'll go on to another guy who I reckon did a brilliant job in what he'd done. Say to the humans, hey, hang on a minute, let me hit the start button.
My name's Alan Weil. I'm editor-in-chief of Health Affairs. We're very...
Shush. Hang on, let me go to fuckface himself.
I don't like that guy.
Intra-dinner speeches, but I've never spoken to a line of people waiting to get their food. So it's nice to have you. Anyway, it's the idea that we are now a few days away from a new administration, I obviously prompted the really extraordinarily, very enjoyable, and I'm
just listen to this, people. This was back in 2017, okay?
Really pleased I had the opportunity to listen to the panel, both of Amy and Ron, and as well as Bill and Dr. Jafari, which really, I think, set the stage for so many of the things that we are going to be dealing with over the coming years. Given, as you heard from the introduction, that I have been around for a while and have had the opportunity and the privilege and the pleasure of serving in 5 administrations, I thought I would bring that perspective to the topic today, is the issue of pandemic preparedness. And if there's one message that I want to leave with you today, based on my experience, and you'll see that in a moment, is that there is no question that there will be a challenge to the coming administration in the arena of infectious diseases, both chronic infectious diseases in the sense of already ongoing disease, and we have certainly a large burden of that, but also there will be a surprise outbreak. And I hope by the end of my relative...
Did you hear what he just says? That there will be a surprise outbreak. Now, that was back in 2017 that prick was saying that, right? So
Trump was in office.
He knew.
Well, they know. This is all planned from like 10 years prior.
Hang on, mate.
The last 32 years that I've been the director of NIAID will tell the next administration that there's no doubt in anyone's mind that they will be faced with the challenges that their predecessors were faced with. So
I'm going to leave that particular one there. I just wanted to remind you guys of what he said back in 2017, right? So they knew about all of this. Hey, Jacob, there's a link in the chat if you want to pop up, mate. Hang on. Let me remove this one.
Okay. Well, they in lockstep, which was a Rockefeller thing. They planned this long before, like 10 years ago. This was, I mean, you could go pull up the Rockefeller Foundation PDF. I forget the actual name, but you could just look up Rockefeller lockstep and read that, and you'll see that it's all been pre-planned. Everything they've done, they planned it.
Yep, Event 201, all of it, mate, all of it. It's all fucking there. But coming over to this particular one, I don't know why the guy actually didn't increase, because you can increase this to full size. But anyway, I think that he did an absolute friggin' awesome job on this. And it's all different. I'm going to play his playlist, and they're not all the videos that he's done. They're not all like half-hour things or whatever. You've got some for 7 minutes, some for 8 minutes, but he does a brilliant job, right? And I thought it was extremely fucking interesting. Some of you might have seen it before, some not, but yeah, I only saw it this morning and I thought this is worth repeating. The guy doesn't have a lot of viewers. I will leave the link to his channel in the description later so that you can go and check out more of his stuff. I think he deserves a shitload more subscribers, quite frankly. But anyway, let's watch the playlist.
Yes, Andrew, and I have something to share with you regarding this coronavirus and how it shows up in the aspects of public health. Okay, so just a brief overview of the story.
Can you guys hear the rain? It's literally drowning out my fucking video.
Yeah, I was trying to hear the video, but it was hard to hear it.
Just give it a minute, it'll stop. It keeps coming in bursts and whatever. If you guys in chat, I'm gonna start playing it again. But if you guys in chat can't hear it, if you can't hear it, let me know. Okay, I'm gonna close that window also.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Storyline, and then we get right into it. In the beginning of this book, there's a Roman chariot that
Can't hear it.
complains about Roman roads
Muffled.
being up to spec, and the senator.
You can't hear it. Hey, Autotron, Cleary, hey, can you guys hear it in the chat?
I can't hear it over here. It's like kind of muffled in a way. Maybe they can. I don't know.
It's a little low. You can't hear it. Okay, it's muffled. Shit. Okay, so next question. Can you guys tell me where in the cam or the mic thingy, how do I share the actual audio of the video that I'm playing? Because I can't find it anywhere. I went into settings and I couldn't find anything there. Does anybody in chat know? T, do you know? You don't know?
No, I don't know.
Damn it.
Maybe try putting it on a speaker if you have one of them.
It is on speaker, that's the thing. Because see, I can go to audio on settings, speakers, it's got my speakers there. Default speakers. It doesn't say anything about sharing the audio though, and this is what people said to me. They says, "Oh, do you know that you can actually share the audio?" Okay,
No,
let me try.
I always did it low tech.
Using the funds of the state for orgies instead of, in other words, for parties, instead of for the fixing of the Roman roads. The senator is pushed from all sides, and he comes up with this marvelous plan.
Before we continue, in case you missed out the earlier bit, what you're looking at here is this guy came across a comic. Try sharing specific window and then check the box. That's what I did, mate.
It sounds a little better. I'll just let you know.
That's what I did, mate. It was to screen share. I picked the hang on a minute. Wait a minute. All right, stop screen sharing. I'll go back to screen share, right? Screen sharing is easiest onto monitors, yada, yada. Share audio checkbox on the next window. Oh, okay. Share screen. Ah, son of a beach. There you are, you little fucker. I'll get it right in a minute. Hang on. Be careful sharing screen audio. If you have a guest, they will hear themselves. You're sharing everything you hear, including their voice. This won't happen if you share a Chrome tab. Yeah, whatever, don't share that. Got it. So yeah, we'll just have to, I won't mute myself, but yeah, we'll play it and I'll just shut up. So this is a comic that this guy has actually found, okay? A literal fucking comic. I'll start it again for those that missed it.
In the Asterix and Obelix comic. Okay, so just a brief overview of his storyline and then we get right into it. In the beginning of this book, there's a Roman chariot that hits a pothole, and there's this complaint about Roman roads not being up to spec, and the senator using the funds of the state for orgies instead of, in other words, for parties, instead of for fixing the Roman roads. The senator is pushed from all sides, and he comes up with this marvelous plan that there will be a chariot race that showcases the excellent condition of the roads, and then the story just starts developing. The senator now faces a new problem. He's got to organize a race. He goes home, he tells his wife, listen, no time for partying anymore, now he's got to get to work.
I mean, look at the fucking name right there in the middle, people. This isn't a comic, okay? This isn't a fucking comic.
And as he gets onto his veranda or his porch, he has like this unplanned, off-the-record meeting with Julius Caesar, who tells him, listen, this is a great idea, this race of yours, but you've got to make sure that a Roman wins it, because Rome's prestige is at stake, and also the unity of the people of the peninsula, in other words, Italy. So, then he sets out and organizes this chariot race, and it's open to all the nations of the world. They all come and compete in this race. And then we start getting into the scenes that are before us over here. Here they all start showing up for the race. Now that is a really abbreviated introduction so far. So here they start arriving. And here we are. I'm going to scroll down at this scene. Here is where Senator Bifidus now announces to the press this charioteer, coronavirus. And here is where it gets really interesting. So he announces, he says, here comes our favorite, straight from Rome, the champion with, and it's basically this number translates to 1,462 victories. He says, with so many victories, the one they call the masked Auriga. And he says the great coronavirus and his faithful Bacillus. Bacillus being the guy that's next to him. Okay, so why have a cartoon and write a whole book and publish it in October of 2017? And there's this character that is the main antagonist, as it were. Why call him coronavirus? Why not call him something else? Like, why didn't they call him something that is related to the reason why he's called 1462 victories? Why not something along that line? I'm going to first talk about the masked Auriga. So he's wearing a mask. Now, what kind of mask is this? This is a very peculiar mask. You'll see that it looks like he has a massive grin on his face that just cannot be wiped off. Now, that is our first clue, is this atomic grin that's just like all over his face. I went and did a bit of research on masks. First, I was thinking maybe this is a reference, possible reference to China, since coronavirus started in China. And I was looking up and down and couldn't find anything. When suddenly, lo and behold, here I found, just click on that, Phoenician, and you can put in here grinning masks, and we'll show the same. These were known as such, Phoenician grinning masks, and I was looking at them and comparing them to what I found in the PDF, in the Asterix and Obelix book. I thought to myself, well, this has got to be it. There's these, the eyes are smiling as well, they're also pulled a bit, and then it's got these wrinkles on it. I'll show you just below here. in the on the next page, I have him again, and here's a close-up. This guy's smiling, and he's got this these funny lines, these wrinkles, as it were, on his face, on the cheeks, and over the eyes. And so, like I said, I found these masks, and very, very interestingly, I clicked on one of them, and it opened, this one over here, it opened to a very, very interesting article. I'll share that article with you now. I'd just like to show you a close-up. See, here's a close-up of one of these masks. Look at the grin on the mouth. It's like wide open, and it's got these lines on the cheeks, over the cheeks, and it's got this sharp, kind of sharp-ish nose, which is also very much like the one we saw in the cartoon. And then it's got lines on the eyes, just above the eyes on the forehead. And it's got these big ears. All of them have the big ears, but yeah, that is certainly a feature. Okay, so now the article. Here is that article that I clicked on, the one that had that mask on it. There it is. And it shares here, as you can see here, also the sharp kind of nose here, prominent nose. Here it says, an ancient method of forced euthanasia, the disturbing truth behind a sardonic grin. And so these masks are connected with this sardonic grin. Now, it explains what a sardonic grin is, for those of you who are not maybe not familiar with the sardonic grin. It talks about the Joker from DC Comics that has this massive smile on his face. Ooh, this is a really terrible picture, but anyway, he looks really wicked over there. But then it goes onto this thing, this section here. It says, the sardonic grin dates back to the ancient world, as most things with intriguing backgrounds appear to do. It says hemlock, a naturally occurring herb, usually associated with the forced suicide of the ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, plays a prominent role in the history of the creepy serial killer grin. So hemlock and this creepy grin have a history. So here it says, according to modern authors and ancient writers, a particular strand of the poisonous herb called water dropwort grows throughout the Mediterranean, but most commonly localized, so in other words, most commonly found on the island of Sardinia. And then it says here, it is from the location of the hemlock herb, Sardinia, that the eventual idiom sardonic grin stems. Okay. Somehow we still don't know what this hemlock does. Here it tells us. It says here, so what was the first instance in which the deadly hemlock was used? They said we can't tell, it's really impossible. He says, while the first answer is unknown, it has been discovered through archaeological research that hemlock has a long use in the toolbox of assassins and hired killers. One drop of the poisonous hemlock, water dropwort, was enough to completely incapacitate the target. So this is a poisonous herb that incapacitates you. And then it says the victim's muscles would grow taut, making it impossible to move, and the usually uncomfortable smile would spread across the victim's face. Because of the frozen musculature, the face would remain like that. Meanwhile, the assassin would complete his murderous job. So this herb it incapacitates you and it immobilizes you so that this assassin can do his or her work. So this is what this hemlock plant does to you. And in here they say the victim's muscles would grow taut, and there is this uncomfortable smile that is spread across the victim's face as the muscles are pulling tighter and tighter. So here we go back to our little corona here, and we see Asterix and Obelix actually make remarks. He says, "Oh, it's all about that Roman," and Obelix says, "Yeah, what do you expect? He's got a nice smile." So the attention is drawn, the reader is drawn to the smile.
Yeah.
And then Asterisk says it's a mask of links. So it's this smiling mask, and that's why I say it led me to the Phoenician grinning masks, and I just happened to click on the right one. Next, it goes on to something that really ties very well into some of the other images that we will see in this Asterix and Obelix comic. It says here the poisonous hemlock was also used for other less sadistic purposes, though in many ways still highly immoral. It says hemlock was employed by the Phoenicians of ancient Sardinia as a way to forcibly euthanize the elderly. And then they say, interpret that.
Did you hear that? To euthanize the elderly. What's the virus all about? Who are the people that are dying the most? The elderly.
Yeah, I know all about it. That's from the World Economic Forum. They basically planned it. They planned to kill all elderly people over 50 to cull the population that's under 50 and make them cyborgs. This is all in their plans of the World Economic Forum back page, which you can't get unless you sign up with your name, your address, your everything about you, and you won't be able to get in. I already tried to sign up for this back page, this secret planning of the. I actually stumbled across it in some videos series this guy was doing. He actually signed up for the back page and got it and showed us a little bit. And what it was mind blowing. They want to make you a cyborg. They want to take you and change your whole DNA and make you unattractive to God. And what they also want to do is they want to kill off everybody that's over the age of 50. Everybody, like me, grandmother, everybody. They want to kill us.
Let's go back on to how he describes the comic, because this is, or the book, this is just, like I said, there is so much that this guy catches, but there is a lot in that book that he doesn't see, right? Not necessarily that he doesn't see, he maybe picks up on it another time or whatever, but yeah.
This guy probably doesn't know anything about the Asterix and Obelix comic, but I find the choice of words just perfect. And then it says here, most often the herb was dropped in the drink of an elderly individual, and then when the effects of the poison took over, the person would be killed through varying methods. The most commonly reported from ancient records are deadly beatings, boulders to the head, etc. All the while, the uncomfortable grin likely sent the illusion of gratitude to the euthanizers. Now, here in the article, it says, while the extent to which the hemlock was employed for the purposes of easing the deaths of the elderly is recorded, the opinion of the elders is left for debate. So they don't really know what the elders thought of all of this. It says here the writers of the records were younger, so even the transcripts that remain, which might dictate the views of their elders, are likely tainted. It says here, did the elderly agree to this poisonous form of mercy killing? Could it even be called a mercy killing if these instances were, in fact, sneak attacks? Did it begin as a way by which younger family members could gain control of lands and money? And finally, if the tradition was widespread in Sardinia, was it a practice that was just accepted without argument by the populace as in each individual aged? Okay, so that's a lot to process and chew on, but try to keep in your mind what I've just shared with you. I want to show you something really interesting. Okay, so going back to Asterix and Obelix, here we have a virus, a masked Auriga, a masked charioteer, and we have just seen what this could possibly relate to. Now I want to share with you a bit of detail why I think this is speaking of euthanasia. Towards the beginning of the book, the first time we actually see our so-called heroes here, Asterix and Obelix, we see them in the marketplace, and they have an elderly person with him. His name is Geriatrix, and he's walking around. He's in so much pain. So Asterix is helping him get to a tooth puller. And as they do so, Obelix gets distracted, and they are waiting for him, and eventually they get to a tooth puller. And guess what his name is? Bioethics. Now, bioethics, sorry, let me just put this aside. Bioethics is the study of the ethical issues emerging from advances in biology and medicine. It is also moral discernment as it relates to medical policy and practice. Now, have a look at this. This person, let me just quickly scroll up. It says bioethicists, euthanasia will save money and facilitate organ donations. This is just a random article that I found, but I like the opening paragraph here. It says, if you want to see what may soon go wrong, and let me just show you the date. He says soon go wrong. The date is March 16th, 2020. That's 10 days before our lockdown started here in South Africa. So he says, if you want to see what may soon go wrong in public policy, just read the professional literature. Bioethics journals are particularly illuminating in this regard because many of the leading voices in the field long ago discarded the sanctity or equality of life model for the utilitarian quality of life ethic. So, and this grants higher value to some over others based on individuous distinctions such as disability, age, and health. This might be individual. Anyway, so this guy is basically saying, listen, long ago, the thinkers in this bioethical field have changed their paradigm. They have now adopted this utilitarian paradigm where they say, listen, if you basically don't serve a purpose in life anymore, you got to go. Now I want to show you the next article. This person writes and says, as coronavirus hits hospitals, the ugly specter of euthanasia raises its head. And it basically goes into the whole situation that they are faced with, that as hospitals become flooded with specifically older people and disabled people, but specifically older people, there is going to come a point where it's going to be a tough call. Do you let them have medical treatment and at the risk or at the cost of another life that you might save that's younger, or do you just euthanize them? So that's what this all goes into. And I found it really interesting that Asterix and Obelix would take a individual with pain. He's already got pain. Now he's going to bioethics. And this is where I see this correlation. So you have older people, they have coronavirus, and they come into the hospital, they are already in so much pain. Now this bioethics thing, this moral decision that you have got to make, shall I let them live, try and save their lives, by spending all my energy, exposing myself to the virus? They are hurting at the moment. They are in so much pain. Why not just put them out of their misery? And this is what happens here. You'll see this. So Obelix is told here, go wander with dogmatics a bit. I'm going to take care of geriatrics. I know some of you might be like, oh, you're so into Asterix and Obelix, but try for a moment and read this this comic without this warm affection towards any of the characters. Just look at them all as actors trying to tell a story. They are all doing something that sends a message, and it's really hard to get an accurate picture of what that message may be if you always think that they're the good guys, etc. So that's just very important to note. Okay, so here he takes him to the dentist, and Obelix goes and he's wandering around. I'll get to that detail in a later video. And here we have them coming back. It says a little while later, and then he says, Asterix says, you see, geriatrics, it wasn't all that bad. So there's this conviction or this statement made that, listen, it's not that bad. It's not that bad to put older people out of their misery. As we saw, this article here seemed to indicate that, listen, you know what? The thinkers have already left off this sanctity or equality of life model for a utilitarian quality of life ethic. So, and he says, if you want to see what may soon go wrong in public policy, this is what you're gonna have to look out for. So as this coronavirus thing develops, we will see this. We will see this come to the front, and some hard decisions are going to have to be made. And then geriatrics has this very interesting expression that he makes. He says, "By Belanov." Now they throughout the book they have these moments where they use the names of the gods, and they say by Odin or by Tutatis or by Jin or whatever. And here he says by Belanov. Now Belanov, the name, I stumped Google trying to search for Belanov euthanasia. When I typed that in, Google just told me, listen, it does not match with anything on the planet. I found that very curious because Google always has something to say. It always has an answer. So if you know anything about this Belanov name and character, I know there's a lot of false information that is being spread on the internet about Bohemian Grove and this character on, I think it's Twitter or something, that tweets how they are, flesh eating club or whatever. All that, I watched a video of an elderly gentleman basically pointing out how that is all hoax and it's AI pictures or whatever. So I'm not really convinced that it's a legit, all those things are legit, but I'm still looking for good information on that. He says, by Belanov, I feel like a 16-year-old, but he obviously has got a tooth missing, so he's like, I feel like a 16-year-old. So he's like, yeah, he feels much better. So this is a really positive thing. He feels better. Why does he feel better? Because he's been euthanized. You see, he's been put out of his misery. The doctor said, he says, and plus, I'll get a new one. It was a milk tooth. Unless if he was lying through his teeth. Now, we know that dentists lie through their teeth, and they always tell you, no, it's not that bad, and it is that bad. So I just found this really, really interesting. The last thing that I want to show about this geriatrics and coronavirus, etc., is on page 13 again. So on page 13, right at the bottom of page 13, everybody's looking in, and Asterix and Obelix, they are outside this crowd. Everybody in the crowd, they're looking coronavirus and admiring this champion. And he says, listen, it's time to sign up. Let's get back to the chariot quickly. And then Obelix makes this remark. He's like, it looks a bit like the marketplace. So he looks at this scene above where coronavirus makes its first appearance, and he refers back to the marketplace. Now, why does he do that? Coronavirus was said to have originated from a marketplace. So that's something really interesting there. I don't believe in coincidences, by the way. So he's pointed out as the masked Auriga. So we've treated that now in this video. Just to sum up, we've said, listen, okay, this mask represents a smile or a grinning, it's got this smile, this grin on it, as we saw on the page below. I've shown you the Phoenician grinning masks and the article where it talks a bit about how hemlock had one of the effects of hemlock was it made your muscles grow tight and then put this grin on your face. And it was shown also that one of the uses was to take care of the elderly in euthanizing them, forcibly euthanizing them. So this coronavirus is wearing a mask that resembles this grinning mask. And what I get from all of this is this virus will cause a forced euthanasia for the elderly, and the effects as shown here is that as in the ancient um, times, the ones making the decisions weren't the elderly. It was the younger generation that was making these decisions. And there's this moral conundrum that was presented in this thing. I'm going to stop this right here, and I will get you in the next video if you're willing to follow along. This is going to be a very long journey because there's a lot of detail that comes out in just that one image where coronavirus makes his first debut. In this video, I'll be showing what the relation is between coronavirus and, as it says here, his faithful bacillus. I'm just going to quickly recap. We spoke about the mask that this coronavirus character is wearing in this book, and we saw that the mask is looks similar to the Phoenician grinning masks, and from there the sardonic grin. And the sardonic grin was caused by the hemlock plant that was used by killers to immobilize their victims so that they could get to their dirty work. Now we're going to look at page 13 again. I've got it open here, and I'm going to focus in this video, I'm going to focus on the fact that it says here, the great coronavirus and his faithful bacillus. Now, why do they say coronavirus and bacillus? So if you type into Google bacillus, then you'll find bacillus is a bacteria. Okay, so we have this bacteria and coronavirus. They go together. Now, I found this puzzling. Why would a bacteria and a virus be in a chariot together in this book? Okay, and I did some research, came upon an article. Here it is. It's the Atlantic.com. And this article talks a bit about the 1918 pandemic with the Spanish flu, or the influenza, as it was called. Here it says, no one knew what was killing them. Theories abounded. Some suggested it was a misalignment of the planets. Okay, so misalignment of the planets. Keep that in mind. And then it says that's what gave us the name influenza. So the influence of the planets was what they thought what was causing this. And then others believe the cause was tainted Russian oats or volcanic eruptions. Now, here it says microbiologists focus on a bacterium they had discovered decades earlier in the lungs of influenza victims and called it Bacillus influenza. So it goes together. So with the Spanish flu, there was this bacteria that was identified, and it actually got part of its name from the virus with whom it was found. So, and then it says here, but they had merely recognized a bacterium that invades the lungs already weakened from influenza. So, do you see here the connection between the virus and the bacteria? They say that most of the deaths were actually caused by the bacteria, not the virus. And this is really important because in the previous video, I showed you how that this mask that the virus is wearing refers to this hemlock that basically, like this influenza virus, weakened. So this hemlock incapacitated its victims so that the killer can do its work, so that something else can take the life of the victim. And here you have that same relationship, that same intimate relationship where the influenza virus of 1918 weakened your lungs to the point where this bacterium could come in and destroy your life. So there's this connection between the two. It says here, not until 1933 did two British scientists demonstrate that the cause must be a new class of disease, which today we call viruses. Finally, in 1940,
the newly invented electron microscope took a picture of the influenza virus, and for the first time in history, we could not only name but also see the culprit. The great influenza pandemic of 1918 occurred in the pre-antibiotic era. Although antibiotics do not treat viruses, they do treat the secondary bacterial infections that sometimes follow. And here it says the secondary infections cause severe pneumonia and were likely responsible for the most of the deaths in 1918. Remember, this article says between 50 and 100 million people died worldwide. Here we have this influenza virus that was intimately tied with these bacillus bacteria, this Bacillus influenza. And now here in Asterix and Obelix, we see the two go together again. Then I'm going to go into the next video, which will be on the masked auriga. Okay, in this video, we will be looking at the masked auriga component of this coronavirus character here. We will look at this word and what it means. It says here on Wikipedia, auriga is a constellation. Now, of course, the Latin word auriga means charioteer, and that also comes out here in this article, on this post on Wikipedia. It says here symbolism is the charioteer, and then really interesting here, it shows that it's best visible. This is a constellation in the northern hemisphere, and it's best visible between these latitudes, and it says here best visible at 9 p.m. during the month of late February to early March. And what did we see here with coronavirus, the pandemic? It became such during late, you can go look at the charts. There were cases before Feb and March, but look at the charts. You'll see that the cases escalate dramatically around late Feb, early March, and the World Health Organization actually declared this a pandemic. According to another article, they did so on the 11th of March. That's as far as I was able to determine anyway. And this is really telling, because now we have this masked auriga that's making his first appearance in the comic, and when he does so, he's called this, and in real life, the pandemic was declared such in late Feb, early March. So there's a correlation between this and then between the article that we read in the previous video about the Spanish flu. You will remember here that in this article, it says here that during this Spanish flu, they didn't know what was killing them, and there were many theories that abounded. So here it says, some suggested it was a misalignment of the planets. Great. So what do we see here in our current day pandemic? Auriga, constellation, i.e. stars or planets or whatever you want, and they align perfectly with this late Feb, early March, aligns perfectly with our current day pandemic. Okay, and another thing that is maybe worthy to just point out at this stage is that our Auriga constellation in the Asterix and Obelix comic, the sponsor for this whole event is lupus. I'll show you just now. There is actually a banner or an advert there for him. And these members of the press, they want to know how on earth did this senator pull this off? Where's the funding coming from? And then they say here, oh, we struck a deal with Lupus, the big garum producer. Okay, so Lupus is also a constellation. I'll share that with you just now. I'm just going to move it back here. So there we go. So Lupus is also a constellation. And what do we see here? What is the symbolism? The symbolism is the wolf. Certainly fits the Asterix and Obelix comic, as you will see. There you'll see. It's all this wolf icon that it's associated with in the cartoon. So Lupus, wolf constellation. And when is this one visible? This is a constellation in the southern hemisphere, and from the northern hemisphere, it is best visible in June, during the month of June. That's when you can see it. So very interesting component there. I don't have a lot of information on that yet. I'm still busy with some research to better understand what the significance is. What I will point out, though, is the following. Toward the end here, see here, coronavirus is, let me just share this. I'll just point this out to you. Coronavirus is defeated. I just want to connect this with in the previous video for you so that you can just pick up the thread here. Here, asterisks and obliques now go zoom in on unmasking this coronavirus character, and they get to this villa, and they come marching in, and as they do so, the following happens. Asterix drinks this potion. Why does he do this? It's obviously to get the super strength, but who comes walking out to protect coronavirus and the senator? You see, the senator is behind coronavirus, and coronavirus is behind bacillus. So this bacterial thing. So what is Asterix actually drinking here? He's drinking antibiotics to take care of bacillus, the destroyer that is associated with coronavirus. And so he knocks him out. So the bacteria, antibiotic takes it, he's knocked out. And then the senator gets away. They can't, he's getting away. And then the next thing is they have coronavirus isolated. So now they can get to the virus. Yay. And what happens here? He unmasks himself. He says, listen, this is what's happening. And there's this whole thing that happens to show who coronavirus is. Now, that's just interesting. That just ties into the previous video where I shared how that hemlock and the killers, or i.e. coronavirus and bacillus, work together. So here, I want to actually just continue the thought now of lupus and show you that coronavirus, that's why, okay, so the reason why I shared this part of coronavirus being unmasked is now he's out of the race, okay? So he's out of the picture. He's been defeated because bacillus was taken care of. But now what happens is the people are cheering. I'll share that with you just now. The people are cheering the goals now. They're saying, Obelix, Obelix. So they're so happy, and the news reporters are reporting this, and they want to know what was behind the scam, because they're talking about the scam, and we will still get into that in a later video. But here they're being cheered on, and it says here, back at cruising speed, the Gauls have managed to secure a comfortable lead, and after about 100 leagues. So there's a lot of time that that has passed now, and they are coming around the final bend, as it were, when they suddenly strike this Roman signpost, which is significant because the Romans in the comic, the Romans tampered with the results, tampered with the signposts and many other things to make it so that this Roman, the coronavirus could win. So they hit the signpost, and they are, as he's waving, still cheering, so they're still celebrating coronavirus. This is 100 leagues later, so still celebrating. Yeah, years later, we'll still celebrate. We beat coronavirus. And next moment, bam, he hits the chariot. He's out of the race, and they are going to call it quits when they see, oh, there's a chariot coming. Let's wave it down. Next moment, they see, oh, it's coronavirus again. What on earth? And here, so they just see coronavirus for the second time again, and I will share with you in the following video why coronavirus is here, then it goes away, and then it comes back again. Here, right after corona is seen, the first time in the article, in the comic book, we see this character. He is the sponsor. He is Lupus. So according to this article here, the people that some suggested it was a misalignment of the planets, and we saw how the Auriga constellation is visible in Feb and March. We see here, after coronavirus comes back again, we see this character. He's the sponsor. He's Lupus. He's called Lupus. He tells them what his name is. Share that with you just now. Here he says that. He says, let me introduce myself. Crucis Lupus, whatever. I don't know how to pronounce that. But he says, the great Garum producer. So here this guy comes, and he basically makes his appearance. Now, like I said, Lupus is the wolf constellation, visible in June. Visible in June, and this is from the north. I'm in the south, I'm in South Africa, so here this Lupus character comes out and he shows himself. So again, coronavirus makes himself visible again. He reappears magically almost, and then Lupus appears. So Lupus, the wolf constellation, the Garum producer, he becomes the solution to their problem. Their chariot has just lost a wheel. In other words, they've been defeated by coronavirus because he just passed them and he's going to win the race now. They were the race leaders, now he's going to win and they'll be the losers. So here this character comes and he comes up with a solution. He says, giving us, after this, he says, oh, sorry, let me just back up a bit. He says, welcome to my estates. It's right here in Neapolis that I produce this nectar. Okay, made from fermented fish guts, remember? Certainly what sounds to me like a vaccine or something. And it says, you Gauls are full of potential. I like you. Lupus are going to make you an offer you can't refuse. And now he offers to give them a chariot wheel, fix their chariot up, and they had to basically now sign a deal where their faces are going to be used to promote their Lupus's product. So now they're back in the race again, and they are catching up with coronavirus again. So Lupus making this appearance, like this article said here, that it was a misalignment of the planets. We see that it's actually a very good alignment of the planets that we see coronavirus the first time, and the second time we see coronavirus, we see Lupus. Okay, and he comes to the front to save. I'm not sure, but at this point, it looks like that will be the eventual cure or the vaccine. I'm not willing to nail that down yet because there's still a lot. And I want to point out to you that this article also says that the other thing that people were thinking this was caused by was Russian oats or volcanic eruptions. Okay, very, very interesting. Because just after Lupus has now fixed their chariot and put them back in the race and they're on the tail of coronavirus, yeah, it says it's hopeless. The Romans still in front, so they're close, but he's still got a massive gap between them. So he's still going to win. And the next moment is this scene where, let me just quickly point this out, very worthy of note here. They're chanting coronavirus, and then this guy, he says, I might have guessed it. It was a tactical withdrawal. So coronavirus will come, it will go, and it will come again, and then we will see it will come to its end. But so now, to pick up the thought here, coronavirus is back in the race. They're catching up with him. They're just about there, but they still have a massive gap. And the next thing happens, and the next thing that happens is this volcanic eruption. Would you believe it? What a coincidence, right? Here we have it in this article. Some thought this article is about the Spanish flu. Some thought it was misalignment of the stars and the volcanic eruptions. Those two things, I don't believe in coincidence. I'm not saying that the author of this article necessarily knows all of this, but I think it is very providential that those two instances were mentioned, the misalignment of the stars and the volcanic eruption. So definitely here in this article or in this comic book, we see this volcanic eruption. What happens? Obelix gets out of his chariot and he throws that, it's called a pumice or something like that. he throws it back into the volcano and saves the day so he can continue now. And they drive on, get to the finish line, and then coronavirus comes to his own end. He takes himself out by a pothole, so which was the initial complaint right in the book. So the book almost ends the way it begins, with a chariot hitting a pothole. So coronavirus comes to his end and he does not finish the race. Everybody passes him and he's out of the race. So that is the end of coronavirus. In the following video, we will get into the whole idea of why this coronavirus appears and then disappears and then reappears again and then takes himself out. Okay, in this video, I'll be sharing with you the part where Asterix and Obelix are now in the market. So we're going to back up a bit. This is the first time we see Asterix and Obelix, and here they are in a market. So they are busy helping Geriatrix get to the tooth puller. They are getting him some help. And all of a sudden there's this palm reader, a Sybil. Now a Sybil, if you go and Google that, oh, my internet's down. I have such terrible service and I'm right in town. I don't know if it's the router or not, but anyway, let's just try again. Okay, so if you go look up a Sybil on Google, Sybil, also called Sibylla, prophetess in Greek legend and literature tradition, represented her as a woman of prodigious old age, uttering predictions in ecstatic frenzy. She was always a figure of the mythical past, and her prophecies in Greek hexameters were handed down in writing. So you can go research a bit more, but basically this is a lady that had prophetic utterances on behalf, made prophetic utterances on behalf of a god, and this is certainly similar to what she does here. She looks at his palm, and then she says, "Oh, I see something heavy weighing on you, great burden." And he says, "Yes, I'm in menhirs, the big rocks." So then she says, so this might be a hint at a Sybil or a channeler or a medium that made some obvious, not blunders, but made some predictions that were very sort of like, oh yeah, we can all see that kind of thing. And here she gets to the place where she says, "Oh, not for long. I see a fine winged chariot. People are carrying you, cheering you. You're being crowned as a champion." Crowned. So here we have this crown thingy, coronavirus, also corona meaning crown. So there's this theme also developing there between the lines. And then basically, while Asterix is busy taking Geriatrix to the bioethics dental care, he is told to go wander off with dogmatics. Look here. Asterix tells him, "Oh, I'll stay with Geriatrix. You go for a wander with dogmatics." And then he's walking through this market and he sees the pumice and how that's going to influence his trade now because these cheap copies are coming in. And then he gets to this stand where the chariots are sold and he buys a chariot on credit for 8 times, I don't know how many, 8 times 10, I think, menhirs. So he buys this chariot on credit and that's where this whole thing happens. So this lady that makes this prophecy, that component, got my wheels turning in the lines of Sylvia Browne making a prediction. I want to make it clear that I'm not endorsing psychics and palm readers. That's not something that I believe in. But I do believe that some of these psychics and palm readers and channelers, etc., have a connection with the prince of darkness that is ruling this planet. And I believe that they all work together, and he will certainly make known parts of his plans. And I think this is what happened with Sylvia Browne. She's saying here, this article, people are starting to talk and wonder about the bold prediction made by psychic Sylvia Browne in her 2008 book called End of Days, Predictions and Prophecies. Prophecies, we saw that Sybil in the asterisks and obliques, this Greek prophetess that was making this announcement or this prophecy. So here it says that in this book she wrote, in around 2020, a severe pneumonia-like illness, pneumonia-like, we saw in the previous videos how bacillus influenza caused this pneumonia-like symptoms in the Spanish flu, and I suspect they certainly will with this current pandemic. It says pneumonia-like illness will spread through the globe, attacking the lungs and the bronchial tubes and resisting all known treatments. So there's this race component coming forth, this charioteer that is just way ahead of them, and they can't keep up with him, and they can't beat him. In other words, they can't find something that is going to cure coronavirus. And then she says, further in this quote, she says, Browne says, almost more baffling than the illness itself will be the fact that it will suddenly vanish as quickly as it has arrived. And we saw that in the previous video I shared with you how this happened. It says here, go vanish as quickly as it has arrived, attack again 10 years later, and then disappear completely. So this is really interesting. Why in 2020, and then she says that it vanishes quickly and then attack again 10 years later. Now let me share this with you as a refresher from the previous video. We have asterisks and obliques sorting out coronavirus by taking a potion. In my mind, this represents antibiotics, because with this potion, he knocks out bacillus, which is in front of coronavirus and the senator. He knocks out bacillus with that potion, and you would think that he's going to knock out coronavirus too. But what does coronavirus do? And what does Obelix do? When he gets to him, he doesn't knock him out. He doesn't do anything to him. So he just drank this potion, and it's not doing anything to this virus, because he just drank antibiotics, and antibiotics don't do anything to viruses. So then what happens here is he takes his own helmet off, and coronavirus unmasks himself as a big scam, as a big, oh, this is what happened. And they were making sure. It says here, I thought it was all too easy, but how could I be sure? I just drive. Bacillus makes the decisions. So this relationship between bacillus and coronavirus comes out. It says he's planned it all from the start. The mask was his idea. He turned me into this Roman champion, idolized by the masses, and I was weak and I went along with it. So here again, this theme of the hemlock and the killers. The hemlock just makes you weak. The coronavirus just makes you weak, and then the killers get to you when you had the hemlock. So here the coronavirus makes you weak, and then the actual bacteria destroy your life, cause the pneumonia-like symptoms, and causes all the damage. And here he actually says that he has planned it from the start. Bacillus did, and it says the mask was his idea. So really, it's just a mask. It's just it's references being made here back to our hemlock situation. And then it says he turned me into this Roman champion, idolized by the masses, and I was weak. I went along with it. So we'll still see some really interesting developments, I think, with this coronavirus and how it relates to bacteria, and the truth will come out. I believe it will still come out, because here is something that happens now. And asterisks and obliques, they're telling, he says, but his scheming's gone too far. Bacillus is scheming. It says, I'm giving up the race. I'm going back to my real name. Testosterone, obviously testosterone. So now this guy is going back to testosterone. As far as I was able to tell from Wikipedia, this guy is supposed to represent Alain Prost, French rally driver, or French Formula One driver. And it says here, and heading home to Sicily, where people are open and honest. Lots of detail coming out there. And then Basilisk gets up again and he's like, you can't do that. What about your beautiful villa in Capri? And then they have this argument. And coronavirus, this weak coronavirus character, mans up and he clobbers old Basilisk over the head, knocking him out again. And then it continues to Senator Bifidus getting away. And we are still on our way to coronavirus's end. So here, coronavirus is now out of the race. And here, they start off with the next leg of the race. And now the media wants to know. Okay, so here, they are still at the inn and they're telling everybody what happened. I'm not telling everybody what happened. Here they are at the inn, and Asterix says, listen, let's continue the race on fair terms. May the best team win. So now that the problem is out of the way, now there's this unification that happens. So here they head out, and they're in the lead. The press are here. They want to know what happened, and they all are chanting Obelix, Obelix. And this is very interesting. This guy says, look, they're the ones who brought down the champion, this Goliath. So they're the ones that came up with the breakthrough research that took away this coronavirus character. It says, I know them. They're Gauls. The fat one's called Obelix. So here, it's all smooth sailing again. And then this other chariot picks up its pace and pulls in next to it. And then Obelix hops out and he wheel spins there. And it says here in the next slide, back at cruising speed, the Gauls have managed to secure a comfortable lead. Obviously, he picked up the chariot. And then it says here, after about 100 leagues, then they get to this. So now a lot of time, in other words, a lot of distance has passed, and they suddenly see the end. The end is in sight, Mount Vesuvius, and behind it, the finish line. Okay, and then Obelix is now still waving at the crowd about this, like this celebration. They're still remembering, how we cured this virus, or how we got this virus out of the race in their case, when suddenly this celebration about curing coronavirus takes them out of the race. So totally and gets them out. And then here they sit and they sulk. And so when suddenly there's a chariot on its way and they say, let's wave it down. To their surprise, coronavirus makes a second appearance, and guess what happens this time? Where is Basilisk now? Obelix says, coronavirus? But I thought he'd given up. Asterix says, and all on his own. I think he wants to defend his honor. So something has happened now that makes it necessary. So the first coronavirus bout that we are experiencing in this pandemic did not, it seems like from the cartoon, it did not accomplish the purpose it was set out to do. So the goal wasn't achieved. Okay, so now there's somebody else on this chariot, and he's alone. So we will see in the end, this is Julius Caesar now, not some hired servant. And the next thing is our lupus character that comes to the front. We spoke about that in the previous video. So here, coronavirus makes its second appearing, and then there's this volcanic eruption, and then the finish line, and he's about to win the race. So coronavirus is about to win this, when suddenly it hits a pothole. So he came to his end by himself, as it were, with none to help him. Very important. He came to his end with none to help him. And then here, Asterix and Obelix pass him. And here Asterix says this. He says, Obelix, my friend, you're actually winning. And then Obelix just turns and says to him, well, isn't that what's meant to happen? A reference back to what the Sybil told him. I personally believe that Sylvia Browne matches this, but I'm open that there are others that are also into prognosticating, like the Nostradamus and Dean Koontz about it with his Wuhan 400. all of these people that knew ahead of time and that are into these dark arts might represent all of them. All of these prophecies that had taken place years ago about this coming pandemic. I will get you in the next video. We will be talking about the one with 1462 victories. In this video, we'll talk about.
Just to say here, the guy I think has done a brilliant job on this. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've seen people sort of pull things apart, but this guy has really gone into depth of looking at the names and stuff like that. And like I said, there is so much through this that he hasn't even like mentioned as to, yeah, it's just, I find it amazing. I'll keep going.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the predictive programming things that they put out.
You'll get to books and articles like this one. Speaking of Gaius Apuleius Diocles, it was a charioteer with a 24-year career, and he had 1,462 victories altogether. This article over here talks a bit about how much this athlete, this charioteer, earned in his 24-year career. It says here that it's this analogy that Struck, the professor of classical studies at the University of Pennsylvania, used to calculate the modern day equivalent of the 35.8 million sesterces that this guy earned or won in his career. It says here, by today's standards, that last figure, assuming the apt comparison is what it takes to pay the wages of American armed forces for the same period, would cash out to about $15 billion. So in my researches, I found that this charioteer, this Diocles, is actually referred to as the highest paid athlete in history. So we just saw, I mean, 35.8 billion, 35.8 million sesterces, translating to $15 billion. That's a very well paid athlete. So why this champion? Why this guy with 1462 victories? I'm still busy getting to the bottom of that, I believe. But as far as I understand it now, this might be a reference to the amount of money that is being spent or that was spent in developing this champion of Rome, this coronavirus character. This thing, people are saying that this is a man-made virus, etc., etc. I suspect that this is what this 1462 component has to do with, is all the research money that was spent in creating this monster over here. Another thing that we can talk about in this video is the senator right in the beginning. It's a very interesting situation that he is in. This is the opening page. Chariot strikes pothole, chariot out, recovery vehicle, and then it shows this I have a dream, and immediately you think of Martin Luther King. And this guy says, I have a dream that public funds shall go towards maintaining our Roman roads. And now the whole Senate is looking with angry faces. Look at them, angry faces. They are looking at their leader here, who's asleep because he has been out partying all night. This made me think of the whole way Trump is portrayed in the media. He's like this billionaire and this guy that likes to have parties. And then this complaint comes in, this impeachment comes in. This whole Senate is looking with angry faces at him, and they are thinking, what on earth are you gonna say about this now? So this accusation is made, and they tell him, this guy tells him, listen, wake up, this is about you. So he's told to wake up. And then he gets up and he says, this guy still says, There's mounting anger in the regions about the deplorable state of our Roman roads. So here is this mounting pressure that's being placed on this leading figure. And certainly, I think of the impeachment trials and all the other things that came out, and Trump was in the media for being a very bad leader. And now this character comes up with a plan. He says, lies, lies, lies. Bifidus, he says, I have responsibility for Roman roads and I cannot accept these allegations. So he says, no, this is all lies. And then he says, so I'd like to take this opportunity to announce a special one-off race. And this race saves his life as a senator. So these are all like, they're all shocked. They're like, what? And this guy over here that woke him up, that told him, listen, wake up, this is about you. He tells him, listen, this is a stroke of genius. Where did you come up with this? He says, La, it just came to me. I'm full of ideas when I first wake up. So basically this party animal gets his inspiration when he wakes up. So when he does wake up, when he does start doing his job, he actually does a great one. We'll see. So now this figure is like planning this race, and he says, oh, I have a network. The next nightmare is to organize this race. And he says, yes, he knows it's a mess because he's in charge of all these roads. So the networks are in a terrible state. And now I want to go skip ahead to the scene here where coronavirus was taken out of the race. So just before coronavirus is unmasked the first time and taken out of the race, Senator Bifidus is here and he says, my friends, so coronavirus and Bifidus, they are his friends now. He says, my friend, this glorious race has made me a persona grata at the Senate. So everybody loves him. He's a great person in the Senate again. Okay, so it saved his career. And then it says, thanks to you, I'm back to running the sesterces for the Roman roads as I see fit. And here we have a very interesting reference to this pandemic, this crisis that saved him, because Trump was on his way out. They wanted to impeach him. They wanted to have Hillary or someone else in his place that could rule the nation. And what happened was this state of emergency was declared. And all of a sudden, the election is out of the question now. And then also the Trump is automatically president for the next term. So I suspect that this coronavirus, first appearance of coronavirus, may be that serve well maybe serves the purpose. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that happens, and I think there's a lot of cashing in that needs to be done because this is an opportunity for a lot of things to happen. So I think there's a lot that happens and that is happening as a consequence of this, and that will have far-reaching effects. But I think one of the things that come out in this comic is he just basically announces that, listen, oh, my career is saved, and I'm this great person in Senate again. And then coronavirus, right there, coronavirus is unmasked. So coronavirus comes in 2020, and then it just mysteriously disappears. So we'll still see. I mean, this whole Sylvia Brown 2020, 2030 thing, it could still be lies, but thus far, everything has just been so detailed in this comic, and I really find this too interesting to just brush off as pure coincidence. So that's what I'm going to share. I think I'll just put a pin in it right there, and then I'll get you guys in the next video. Hi, I'm back with the video on the sponsor of this race. We're going to be looking into that and see that there is a really interesting line of clues here. So in the video about the stars and the planets that are aligned for coronavirus, we've also looked at the fact that the lupus and this wolf picture, this icon, is also a constellation, and it's the wolf constellation. So this constellation is visible in June. So there's something going to happen in June because the sponsor, Lupus, Croesus Lupus, shows himself later in the comic. It says here, Senator Bifidus is on the site answering questions from scribes who come from every direction to cover the event. Now, again, this is Trump in the media. He's in the media like almost 24/7 kind of thing. And he's always just answering questions like, where are we? How far are we? You know, what's happening, etc., etc. So here they ask him, who's financing this? And he says, well, it's simple. We have a deal with Lupus, the big garum producer. They're supplying the trophies. And then he says here, in return, we've allowed them to display their banners and hand out amphorettas of garum all along the route. So the first time they see this billboard in the comic book is when they're zooming down this shortcut. So here they see this, okay? This guy's face is on a billboard and he's holding an amphoretta of garum. Great. Now let me take you to why this is so significant. Towards the end of the race, Asterix and Obelix are now in the lead, very comfortable lead. They hit a signpost and chariot is broken, and all of a sudden coronavirus comes zooming past them. Now, as they are ready to call it quits, here comes a chariot with little guy and two bigger guys. They look like bodyguards. And he introduces himself. So here is the first time that this Croesus Lupus, the sponsor that's behind this race, makes himself known. Here we have this constellation of Lupus that's only visible from the north in the month of June, and it's a constellation that's located in the southern hemisphere, this character. And he says, let me introduce myself. Croesus Lupus, the great garum producer. And to cut a long story short, he says it's right here that this nectar is produced. And then he says here, I'm going to make you a deal that you can't resist. He gives them help. In turn, he wants to put their faces on his billboard. So he says here, the right to put my face on his mosaics. Where's the harm in that? It's modern. So now he is behind them. So this tells me that this Lupus character was behind coronavirus until coronavirus was defeated the first time by Asterix and Obelix. And then he saw their potential. So there's this change now that comes, and now he backs them. So let's back up a bit and look at the bigger picture. So here we have the race sponsor. For the first part of the race, he is behind coronavirus, backing him. And here he turns around, and now he's behind Asterix and Obelix, who end up defeating coronavirus. So who is this figure? So here you go, and you type into Google Croesus. He was the king of Lydia, a country in Western Asia Minor, and it says here on the right-hand side, king of Lydia, until he was defeated by Persian King Cyrus. And then it says here, Croesus was renowned for his wealth. Okay, so let's look at that big picture again. In the coronavirus pandemic landscape, when you look at it from afar, you see there's this one prominent figure renowned for his wealth that is behind defeating this coronavirus. He's talking about vaccines, and he's been talking about this pandemic for years. And now this whole mess is here, and etc., etc. So this comic book seems to point out that our dear Bill Gates is behind this whole mess, both behind coronavirus and behind the vaccine then. So this thing plays out very well into his hands. If you want to tell me that a tech guy like him, yes, he's got his philanthropical pursuits, but if you want to tell me somebody with that much money, renowned for his wealth, makes these predictions for the past 5 years at least about this coming pandemic, and if you want to tell me that was just all coincidence, then maybe you've got another thing coming. Here it says that this little rich guy is behind coronavirus until it suits him, and then he changes gears and gets behind the solution, the guys that are going to defeat coronavirus. I want to add to this video this part in the comic where it shows England's wheels coming off, the chariot with the lions and the two Englishmen in it. Both of their wheels come off and they are sent careening. And the next scene is this African chariot pulling up wheel to wheel with Asterix and Obelix. And the next moment, they come zooming past, and now they are wheel to wheel with the leaders. So they are about to pass coronavirus. These are the Kushites, according to the comic book. And it says here, it looks like they're going to overtake the Roman. And it says no. He says here in the next slide, it says here, no, he's swerving in front of them. And so coronavirus takes this sharp left, and you can see this big grin on Basilis's face here. And guess what? He knocks the African chariot out of the race almost, but he sends them flying and they go crashing. So here's this thing that happens to Africa, and we have seen in this corona pandemic that Africa has been largely untouched. Maybe that's what this is all about, that Africa is actually, all things considered, busy triumphing over this coronavirus. And the next moment, this mysterious thing happens and corona sends Africa flying. I will see you in the next video. In this video, I want to share with you what I believe to be the purpose of the whole race. You'll remember that Bifidus came up with this plan to showcase the Roman roads, that they were in a good condition. In other words, he wanted to prove a point to everyone that he is a good senator, he's doing his job, the accusations that they made against him were false. So, and we said this seems to point to Donald Trump, and then he has a surprise visit from Caesar that tells him, listen, this is a great idea, and that a Roman must win this race because Rome's prestige and the unity of the people are at stake. Initially, it looks like this whole race is about Bifidus and trying to exonerate him. But Caesar brings another element to this. The next clue, I believe, can be found here, where the whole town has come to say goodbye to Asterix and Obelix on their way to the race. There's a character here called Cacophonix. He makes a statement. It says, "O Italy, the serenading." Now, Cacophonix is a very interesting character. It says here that Cacophonix is the village bard. He is usually only a supporting character, but has a major part in the plots of some albums. So sometimes this guy is really important. And I believe that to be the case in this book. I went and looked up the word serenade. It says here on the right, it says in music, a serenade is a musical composition or performance delivered in honor of someone or something. So we have seen that Julius Caesar said this. He said, listen, Rome must win this race because Rome's prestige and the unity of the people is at stake. So those two factors. So in other words, this race is in honor of Rome then. I looked further and found this definition of serenade. It says, if you really want to win someone's heart, take your ukulele to his house at night and serenade him under his open window. So in other words, Cacophonix is saying here that this whole thing is in honor of Rome. Now let's go to the next part where this is made very clear. Right after coronavirus sends the African chariot crashing, the whole world chants coronavirus. And Obelix says here, more and more people chanting his name, it's getting annoying. And then shortly after, we see Bifidus is back at Julius Caesar to report on the progress of the race. And Bifidus says, things are going wonderfully well, O Caesar. Our champion is holding the lead. All through the provinces, jubilant crowds cry his name. And now here Caesar says, perfect. When they chant his name, they're actually chanting Rome. And when they chant Rome, they're actually chanting Caesar. So this is a serenade in honor of Caesar, or in honor of Rome. Now, who does Rome represent? I believe it is the papal power. It's a religio-political system that in ages past used to rule the world. And in this comic, I believe there's a message saying that in the end, the whole world will be chanting and will be praising Rome. But what about Bifidus's personal agenda? What about Trump? He just said here, my friends, this glorious race has made me a persona grata at the Senate. Thanks to you, I'm back to running the sestresses for the Roman roads as I see fit. He's just celebrating that he's back in Senate. When Asterix and Obelix arrive on the scene and they knock out Bifidus, unmasking coronavirus. This sends his whole personal agenda deep south, and shortly after this whole incident here, Bifidus is seen back at Julius Caesar, who yells at him and exiles him to Cyrenaica. So Bifidus is out. It looks like Trump will just be celebrating his victory, personal victory, of remaining the president when this whole coronavirus pandemic comes to a stop. And then, as soon as that has happened, he is out. But as we saw, coronavirus comes back, and this time it's back with a vengeance. Remember, Caesar said the honor of Rome and the unity of the people is at stake, and he is going to make sure that goal is achieved. And right before he crosses the finish line here, he strikes a pothole, which is like a backward glance at Bifidus. He actually says this. He cries, Bifidus, Bifidus. And because of Bifidus's whole incompetence, he now has not won the race. So, in other words, the prestige of Rome and the unity of the people is at stake. But watch what happens next. Coronavirus is unmasked the second time, and they are all surprised to find that it's actually Caesar behind the mask. And then he says, yes, it is Caesar. Who else could have saved Rome's honor? So this whole thought of this thing being in honor of Rome is brought to the forefront right at the end of this race. And then Caesar says, but he has to admit he rather enjoyed this little race. Aspects of it reminded him of his misspent youth. Now, if this is the papal power, then this misspent youth reference might be referring back to the Dark Ages when people were persecuted and lives were lost because they did not believe what the church believed. And now the trophy is handed over to the race winners, and in traditional fashion, you would expect the crowds to go wild and cheer the winners, but that's not what we see happening here. All of a sudden, everybody breaks out into this cry, long live Caesar, hooray for our great leader. So this, and it says here, here's to Rome, here's to Italy. So this took me back to what Cacophonix said, that this was in honor of Rome. And you can see that this whole thing was in fact in honor of Rome. And Rome has definitely won the hearts of all the world as a consequence of this whole race. What I'm expecting to see as an outcome of this whole pandemic is that Rome's position in the eyes of the world will definitely have changed for the better, if not established as a ruler over the world. This thought of Rome's restoration before the peoples of the world made me think of what it says in Revelation 13 and verse 3. It says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. This beast, according to Bible prophecy, refers to the papal power or the papal system. And in 1798, when the Pope was exiled, that's when I believe this mortal wound was inflicted upon the system. And since then, much has happened to restore this deadly wound, and this might indicate the fact that the whole world is now wandering after the beast as a consequence of this race. We will still have to see whether that is the case or not. Please do your own research. Don't take everything that I say just as truth. Make sure for yourself and study. In the last frame, there's this interesting bit here where Cacophonix is now silenced and in the chariot. He's not partaking of this feast here. Everybody is happy because he is silenced. I understand a bit better now. He brought this unpopular message that this whole thing is actually about Rome and in honor of Rome and Rome winning everybody's heart.
Okay.
In this video, we're going to be looking at what the comic seems to indicate regarding.
Just stop that there. He does have more videos and stuff, but I'll go into where is it? Hang on, we'll do this slowly. That's 11. I think it takes time to catch up. Yeah. I mean, there's so much in this that you can see. I mean, when he talks about Italy and whatever, I mean, when you stop and look, majority of the deaths that happen to elderly folk, where did that start? In Italy. The doctors that were coming out saying from north of Italy that it was some kind of pneumonia-like thing that they had never seen before. And plus two, I'm just giving it time to load.
Okay, well,
Hang on, we can go through.
if that's the case, did they have any 5G towers in there?
5G's been around for longer than people think, mate. But
yeah,
it wasn't
I know.
in Italy at the beginning of 2019. The elderly folk, apparently the flu vaccine had changed. It was a new flu vaccine. And in Italy, majority of the elderly folk had taken that vaccine, you know, so.
Right. That's what it always goes back to, the vaccine that they're going to be rolling out here in September.
See, like he was saying he was referring lupus, for example, to the planets, but it also could refer that to lupus. You know what I mean? As in the disease lupus.
I wouldn't put nothing past these people.
Because I haven't even sort of looked at the comic or whatever. I just saw his videos and I thought he did an awesome job in pulling it apart and stuff like that, you know? I mean, just
yeah, he did more than you thought, huh?
Yeah. I mean, just the different signs that you can see through, you know, like recovery and just different things that if somebody really wanted to dissect this to the friggin', I mean, it says bifidus, but could that be spina bifida has something to do with something? I don't know. I've seen
I don't. Like I said, I don't trust anybody like that. You know, Bill Gates or anybody like that. I don't know what they'll do, but they got all the power.
I don't trust anybody either, but I mean, this is literally all out there, and it has been way before all of this shit started. You know what I mean? Like, obviously through the fucking comics. Oh, if anybody hasn't watched, now that I remember, if anybody hasn't watched, it's Manhunt Unabomber, as in UNABOMBER. I suggest you go watch it. There's, I think, 6 or 7 episodes to it, right? Go and watch episode 6. The actual type typewriter, it shows you the typewriter apparently that the Unabomber was using. On the typewriter, the name of the typewriter is Corona.
Right. And so did many celebrities have Corona, like what was his name? Corona typewriter. Who was that? Oh, that was Tom Hanks, right? He had Corona typewriter.
I mean, here, for example, like in this picture, you've got the devil, Pied Piper. Is he blowing his pipe? I mean, there's just so many things in this that you could pull apart. I mean, to me, when he was talking about Africa, they use always as a testing ground for their fucking vaccines, for everything. You know what I mean? They always use Africa.
Yeah, Bill Gates was in Africa a while back.
Oh, please. He thought he was doing those people a favor by fucking turning shit water into drinking water. I did a video on that ages ago. He makes this machine where it literally spits out supposed drinking water. Because I was going off my nana saying, you drink it, you fucker. Oh, I hate
Well,
that prick.
I didn't go that far with Bill Gates to where but he is in other things like food production, so I wouldn't put it past him.
Oh, he's into everything, biogenetically modified food, you name it,
Poop steaks, yeah, I know. It's insane.
But if anybody wants to go and have a closer look at this, or literally dissect it, as in even more, because you could. I mean, this guy covered certain names and stuff like that. But if you really wanted to get into it, yeah, you can.
I already have their plans, though. I don't have to look in the cartoon for it. We already know what they want to do, and if I could only get it in the back page, but they keep sending me monthly mailers in my email, so I've been looking at that too. And I'll let you know, these guys are serious. They mean business. They're going after the whole world, all of it, all of it. You name it. What you eat, what you dress, where you are, if you're free or not, your driving capabilities, the vaccine in your arm, total control, 1984 on steroids. They want to do it.
This guy talking about the second wave and how the corona's going to come back a second time. Who remembers that creepy ass fucking video of Bill Gates and his missus sitting there, and he's going, the second round or something or other. Oh fuck, let me find it. I know where it is. Let me find it. Hang on 1 second. 1 second. Where is the guy? Just in case you guys don't remember it. The two of them are sitting there and they're smirking over it. You know what I mean? Like there's
I know the exact moment. Yeah, I know. Both of them are sitting there smirking at the same time. Yeah.
Exactly. When he's talking about, if the first one, he may as well have said, if the first one didn't fucking get you, the second one will. Hang on a minute.
He might as well have said that, but you know what? I think that he missed a wave, and the wave right now is not the virus, and they haven't expected what happened recently this weekend to happen, because it wasn't a Black Lives Matter or a Antifa protest. It wasn't the Women's March or any other colored revolution. It was actually the actual people of the country standing up. Now, if that was the first day of many, that's a great thing to see. But right now, as we're sitting here with a bunch of scared people. Even the ones without the mask, they're scared to go, walk around with other people, I guess.
This particular one. Remember that one, everybody?
Yeah, I remember that.
on, just let me play
as
that.
part of their bragging rights or their code of ethics of unethical behavior. Listen to what he has to say. It's kind of spooky. And look at their expression on his face as he
That's
smirks
two
and
sick
smiles
fucking
while he
people.
says it.
Seriously, two sick fucking people.
Yeah, I don't trust these people at all.
Prepare for the next one. That,
Listen,
I'd say is will get attention this time.
See, look at that. So he just said that the next pandemic will get attention this time. And look at the smirks on their faces. Can you believe that? I mean, it's just pretty remarkable. Let's listen to it one more time. Maybe even make it widescreen here.
So we, we'll
It's
have
pretty
to
dark to me.
for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time.
look at him. Who
He
the
looks
fuck
pretty dark to me.
kind of shit? Do you know what I mean? Like, who the fuck smiles over that kind of shit?
Demonic. I just got to be honest. I'm not. I'll go there if you want to make it that. It's a demonic influence. I mean
All I
that
there's some
that that's a war that goes on for a long time. From the beginning of time. So
I mean,
still
see,
going
like
on.
here, I mean, turbo catalytics or whatever. Hey, you could even go and find out what the fuck that is or what it's to do with, because it seems to be emphasized in the actual comic itself. You know what I mean?
Right, like higher than what coronavirus, like super emphasized. I see what you're saying. Besides the question mark exclamation point, that's in the largest, boldest letter of the whole thing, right? Is that what
I
you're
mean,
saying?
like, there was another, like you pointed out, the four horses.
Right. Of the what?
No, it says when you were saying in chat.
He's being pulled by the four horses. Yeah, being pulled by the four horses of the apocalypse. Maybe I don't know.
Hey, listen, it's there. If you, like I said, if somebody wanted to pick this to bits, there's a shitload that you could find in this. A shitload.
Yeah, go back to that turbo and
Just
look that up real
here.
quick. I mean,
Look
you
at
got
this.
the screen.
Vehicle checkpoint. Vehicle
Yeah.
checkpoint. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Is that
Your
not
papers, please. Right.
I mean, is that not what's going on at the moment?
Well, it's in some places, yes. Maybe in your country for sure. From what I've seen, man.
Border
I hope it's
bloody
not that.
lockdown, borders, friggin' everybody having to show papers. Can you move? Yada yada.
I know I've been cutting in and out. I don't know what it is.
But there's just so much, like I says, there is so much in this that you could like seriously find. And I mean, like he was pointing out, that wolf thing, it's everywhere. Say the pictures they're all along there on the
Wolves
side
in
of the.
sheep clothing. The wolf seeks to devour. Or that's the lion. That's right. Oh, yeah. The lion gets changed to the wolf. That's what it was. All kinds of stuff's going on.
I mean, there was another picture that I noticed where they're in the actual. See, to me, that's why I think Africa comes into it, because they're always testing shit out in Africa. Always testing shit out there. Another thing.
Yeah, like Ebola, and they said that Ebola, but come to find out what Ebola was. I end up in this coronavirus. I kind of question everything that I know, and I'll let you know. Questioning that and looking hard at each thing, like, did somebody die in the
I mean, here's another.
whatever shooting.
Here's another
Did these past pandemics actually exist? And I'll let you know. There's some serious evidence to the contrary. Okay, and it goes
is,
all the way back to 1918.
is this
Yeah,
an is that the sign for Amiga
that
on
is
the
a
horse?
letter C, but yeah, it's not the sign for Omega. No, but
Is it
that is a C. That, and it looks like it could be even crossed to be a. That's a certain calligraphy too. You
I've
might
seen
want to
that.
go look at font and to find out where that calligraphy comes from, because
No.
that's
I've seen this. It's got something to do with either Omega, Beta, Alpha, whatever. It does
oh, you're
represent.
gonna say that's the Omega. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
Not looking at it from this angle, because from this angle it looks like a
Right,
C.
like a U. Yeah, okay.
If you're looking at it from the arse end of the horse upwards, because it's got the little bits that come out.
Right. I see what you're saying, but I would still look at the calligraphy on that. See, it's not that big of a deal. So that's where I'm at. I mean, it is a cartoon on predictive programming, which is cool. It's definitely I'm all in it, but it's still just just a cartoon. We know who owns these companies. All the companies, all of them, every last one. You name it, who owns them?
I just find it in
Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, all
symbolism in there,
we know.
the eye.
The Soroses, yeah, the all-seeing eyes. Where I didn't see that. Oh, I missed it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If that's in there, and who knows what they got in here? And if you study each picture, that's taking it a step further. It's time consuming, and I could see the guy could just keep bringing out videos on it. What do we watch? 4 of them? That's my guess.
There's the comic is not, it's not that long, but I'm just saying that if somebody wanted to pick this to pieces, they could find a whole heap of information in here. Because he picked out, when he was doing the planet thing, like lupus and whatever, it wasn't every name, it wasn't every name that was in there. But if you really wanted to dissect it, you could take every friggin' name that they've used.
Well, that's another way you can go with it, and all the symbols, including your C there, or. But no,
There's
it's
one where that guy is sitting in the chariot, which I'm scrolling down slowly to have a look, because I never looked at the whole comic per se. But there's one where the actual back end looks like a friggin' frog's leg, and with him being so big at the bottom, he looks like he's actually sitting in a pot, right? I'll show you when it gets to it. He's because it kind of changes, but everything is crashing.
lost you again, I think.
Oh, listen, they always say that they've got to be gentlemanly, and they've got to tell you what it is that they're going to do to your fucking ass before they do it,
Right, exactly. So at least they have the what is it? The moral high ground in their eyes, which they don't. But
they don't collect karma that way, because they actually told you. And if you can't see it, then that's on you. That's the way that they put it out there, so that they don't.
that's what they think their magic is. In other words, what you're saying, they feel that they can beat the system by doing that with their satanic methodology, but it's not going to work. They can't. They can't outrun God. They can't go to this extreme without super punishment. You don't want to know what's coming for these people. I don't want to know. See? Oh man! If a liar gets this,
If you ask me, that olive oil on the road wasn't natural, and it's odd that that is spelt backwards. And even here, it's spelt backwards, or the letters are partially backwards.
and go look backwards and get a mirror. Maybe it says something else. Probably not, but yeah, it's pronounced backwards. That's weird. Hmm.
I mean, it's a bit awkward looking at it like this rather than looking at it as a book,
Decent.
per se, you know what I mean? What's this? Did you see that zero gluten? Beta carotene? Beta carotene? The ghouls have some kind of potion.
Keep losing you.
Let me go down.
Hmm.
A little bit further. I want to see where that thing is. I spotted it in the guy's I know it's here somewhere. I'd like to. The camel and the pig must have some reference in all of this. You know what I mean? Like why would it be there?
I don't know. They're like blocked.
See, like here, there's 4 stars. Again, you know, if somebody wanted to look into it, here above him, they must have some reference because here there is only 3. And yet, if you have a look at this picture over here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. On his chest, 1, 2, 3. Over here, there's 2. I mean, yeah, you could say it's getting picky, but considering they put this shit out there in movies and fucking all of that crap, where is it? I'll put all the links, like I said earlier, I'll put all the links into in a description to all of this so that you can go across and watch it. Like I said, the guy has other videos too. I haven't watched the other ones. I just found that and started watching that, but I thought very interesting. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Because that so to me looks like he's sitting in a fucking pot rather than it being his pants. On the fact that this one's on an eagle. I don't know if I ever told you guys. I ended up having what I would class as not a dream, more of a, if you can put it under the heading of a vision. This was when that plane went missing, that MH something or other they could never find. And I was having a nap during the day, and I could see myself, and that's why I know it was totally different to a dream. I could feel myself being so high up, and everything was just like one color. It was like this kind of a mauvey, purpley kind of, I don't know, light burgundy, somewhere in there. It was just all one color, right? There was no separating colors of this, that, and the other. And I was very high up in the sky. And below me, I could see a plane. The plane morphed into an eagle. And I remember like doing, I think I did either a video on it or I was sharing it through a live stream or something or other. And to me, that just so symbolized, I reckon that the US government took that, they pretty much stuck that on an island somewhere. Because as I've said before, we take it for granted that Google shows us every piece of dirt that is out there, and I don't think they do. I don't think they do. I think there is so much hidden stuff on those maps. But see, to me, that looks like such a fucking pot. It looks like he's sitting in the goddamn fucking pot. Could be like humanity being fried, you know, that the what is it, the frog in the pot? The boiling frog, that's it, the boiling frog. I mean, that's like the Illuminati cards, right? I mean, look, who the fuck brought them bastards out? You know? Who the fuck brought them bastards out? Sorry, hang on a minute. Where am I putting it? Down there. I was looking at my monitor, sorry, didn't see you. I mean, the Illuminati cards, you go through them, you've got the pandemic there, you've got Trump there, you've got the whole fucking kit and caboodle there, you've got the protests there, you've got all of that there. All of it. I'm starting to think I might actually have passed the picture that I was looking for, but I mean, plus too, be curious to see where this volcano comes into it. Like, where is this volcano? Let's have a look at the picture and see if we can see where it is.
Well, I'm back. It's fine. It's all right. At least I got an avatar now. Yeah,
See, again, in some places, the letters have been put backwards, you know?
yeah, what is that supposed to signify, right?
I don't know. I'm just saying, if they're putting this stuff out into books and stuff like that, I mean, I'm sure that everything in there is of some significance. You know what I mean? Otherwise, why put it in there?
Well, there's a lot of side stories. I'm gonna just narrow it down real quick. There's a lot of side stories. Okay, they have all different kinds of Wuhan lab to, it changes, it morphs, and it becomes back. It's a bad virus. So many scare tactics. The first day and then I watched the videos of the of the Wuhan, and I went into all that, and I was like, okay, for one, they're all 30-second skits. No one is live on location. No one went down there. Okay, these are all like pre-made little 25, 30, 20-second skits. Okay, to shock and awe you, and give you a very small peep into something. This is how they work. And they're just going to give you a little small peep, and you can't prove it. There's no way to prove it. And you automatically asking questions when they give you anything, whatever it is, whether it be a vaccine, to somebody shot somebody, to always ask questions. Like there's this new one. I just see too much gun smoke. Just from where we a ball and cap. I just see too much gun smoke for two shots. Some people don't see that. See, I do. I know what they have in their arsenal. I studied to be an actor at one point. Okay, and I'll let you know, I can spot it in a heartbeat.
Okay, well, if looking at this here has anything to do with it, okay, if that's showing yada yada,
The transatlantic
the volcano that they're talking about must be in Italy because it's pictured there on the map.
Vesuvius, yeah. Is that how you spell it? That's different.
Vesvibsmons. So that volcano then obviously would be lower part of Italy. Hey, Jacqueline.
We should just go look up where was the first location out of China? Where was it located in Italy? That would give credence to the revelations found in this book.
Well, put it this way. So I know Sicily was mentioned in there. And it starts obviously at the top because according to that map that we just went past, it starts at the top
where
of
it started? I don't remember because I was busy.
What better symbol of its dazzling civilization than its wonderful roads? They arrive straight and reliable. They all lead to Rome. All roads lead to Rome, see?
All right, no, I was talking about the original coronavirus, not the guy in the race.
Oh, the original virus, as far as I know, was being studied in the United States. I can't offhand remember where.
No,
And
when
then
it
it was
hit-
passed off to China. It was passed off to Wuhan. And
Right.
then I know that United States government was still funding it.
Well, this is what they told us. So, okay. All right, let's put it to you like this. So that's the narrative. You're right. That's the narrative.
No, I actually did I am pretty sure I did a video on it showing where it actually came from.
Yeah, I would be curious to see if it's in
Hang
the
on,
general.
University, was it Maryland? I don't know. Maryland seems to come to mind. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
All right. I understand. That's what they're saying is the narrative.
But that's where it started, because I wanted to know, because I said from day one, I don't believe that China did it.
Well, you should continue on that and continue on that until you're to the bottom of of all of the mainstream media. So once you get to the bottom of what they say and the bottom, and you get to the everything, and you'll understand that, what can you trust from them?
Yeah, I didn't get that off mainstream media. I don't watch mainstream media. I don't watch TV.
Right. Well, that's all right. That's the narrative talking point. Well, there's a bunch of them in this. If you haven't noticed, some of them say it's transmuting and it's alive and it's a bioweapon. It's a this. It's that. And come to find out that they're lying about the amount of people they have in the hospitals, and they're lying about people getting laid off in a pandemic, the doctors and nurses getting laid off in a pandemic, and they're lying about so many other things at this point, just with this sham of a coronavirus. They lied about so much, and now we're supposed to believe them.
Well, we're not.
I can't. Whatever they say from now on, because I believed in Trump. I wanted to make America great again. I want to make the world great, and I got fooled. I'm man enough to believe and say it. That I got fooled. I got shammed. We got conned. But the most people don't understand that. Okay, and talking to them is like talking to a wall. Literally.
You said earlier we're supposed to believe it. 3/4 of the planet does. 3/4 of the planet.
Me off again.
Yeah.
What'd you say? 3/4 of the planet? What? They cut me off again, or whatever.
No, you said earlier on that we're supposed to believe everything that they're saying, and I said, well, 3/4 of this earth does believe it. So, I mean, according to this, saying you look at this, I don't know. I would have to Google that. Modizia, is that a place or is that something? Then you've got pharma, which is obviously something like big pharma.
You just have to always give.
That's Tibwood. I don't know what the fuck Tibwood is, but yeah. Neopolis, and then we're down to the volcano. And here, look, helmets must be worn. What the fuck?
You gotta wear your space helmet. Don't think they're not gonna go there with it. Okay, that's the funny part. Don't think they're gonna not make you bubble people if you let them. If you bend over and say, "Hey, make me a bubble people," and they're gonna slap a bubble on you after they shoot you up with a bunch of stuff bad for you, changing your DNA. Enjoy, bubble. Oh, that's what's going on. That's the crazy part.
Why would they have it? Like, this is a comic. Helmets must be worn. There's your fox, And that's at
Yeah,
at the beginning, you know?
and there's the triangle. It's upside down now. The fox inside of it. Transatlantic.
Yeah.
And there's two eyes though. The all-seeing eye of the wolf.
Well, it'd be interesting to see. Be interesting to see at what point this volcano goes. I might have a look later on the map to see where that might be exactly. The bottom, it's on the boot
to
of Italy, so if anybody wants to come up, people, come on up.
from all over.
Let me know what you can see. There's always good to have many eyes.
From all over the known world. You see that?
Yeah, and also down here,
Mm,
CVP for the winner. Well, that's not a V, that's a U, isn't it? That's a U. Because if we're going to read this as lupus, then that V is a U.
hmm.
Or is it different? Because look how that one there, that's got equal sides to it, whereas this one hasn't. Or is it just different writing? Who knows?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Wait a second. Hold on. I'm kind of a puzzle master. So, a cup for the winners. If that's the code, right? Cup is spelled there. If cup is spelled there, then did I lose again? If cup is spelled there, then that this I'm having a heck of a time.
You keep dropping out, mate. Where did we see the cups? I'm trying to get down to where the cups were. Oh, here, yeah. But see, even on this one here, it's got garum written on there. If you look at that, if that's supposed to be on garum, if that's supposed to be a U, in Indonesian, that's garam.
Garum. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's a U, and that's how that's a code. Like V.
I lost you again, mate. See here too, you've got the leaf. That's on the United Nations. On the cup, you've got United Nations.
I can't even hear you now.
The damage wreaked in nearby towns was catastrophic. Oh, there you go. Jacqueline is saying Vesuvius. Thank you for that, Jacqueline. I was looking at that and I thought, why don't I know that? I even followed a friggin' volcano in Italy. Now it appears the heat was so immense it turned one victim's brain to glass, thought to be the first time this has been seen. Oh, wow. I wonder if that's going to repeat itself. Huh?
So there's basically keys in this. That U V combination is a key. They have other ones, I bet. Maybe this is worth looking into. They use silly things to make the wise be baffled. So maybe that is it. Maybe they hit it all in the cartoon. Can you
I
hear
mean,
me?
you look at these cups, like every cup, because there's a cup being presented to Africa, there's a cup being presented to, I don't know who they're supposed to be, or them, but they're all getting one. It's all got the United Nations, the leafy thing on there.
Yeah, but not that. Transatlantic. And what is this? Yeah, lupus. She's right. Lupus. Lupus. Got me wanting to look up stuff, you know.
I know, right? There's just so much in this that that you could look at. What are these? What's that? 44? Is that a 44? A 44 something? What is that? Let me have a look at the next one. No, because that's a 436. Even the numbers in the corners of 43A, hang on, 43A, that might be a 43B. That's a 43B, 43A. Let me have a look at the next one.
Maybe
No,
I'll slow down.
that's AB. I was looking at it as numbers.
I just switched to internet, so maybe can you do a test? You hear me fine, everything?
I can hear you at the moment. I'll tell you when you drop out.
Well, I kind of know it because, like, I mean, I don't hear you at all anymore. So.
Yeah. Because see, even here, there's the United Nations thingy, and it's pointing. I don't know what country that's supposed to represent. Are they Russians? Are they Cossacks? I mean, they've got the fairy. He's got a fairy hat on.
Wait a second. Yeah, what? Go back to that. Oh, man.
Because that's Africa, right? I think this is Russians because of his red hat and whatever, and that it looks like they're doing the dance here. Who are these guys supposed to be?
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
Delicious down to the last drop. Lupus
garum.
garum.
Okay.
Lupus garum.
Who's lupus garum?
Hang on. Ruins of a garum factory. What's this? No, we don't want O. Garum was a fermented fish sauce used as a condiment. See, garam is also an Indonesian, is it tobacco or cigarette? I'm pretty sure it is.
What does that say, garum? Is
been a type of fish. Garam was made from fish intestines with salt, creating a liquor, the garam, and the fish paste named. The fish was byproduct of fish sauce. Yeah, it's making me want to chuck just reading it. Garam was produced in various grades, consumed by all social classes. After the liquid was labelled off the top of the mixture, the remains of the fish called on poorest classes to flavour their staple. Oh, God, they were putting it on porridge. Oh, I suppose if you were brought up into that, it would be normal. Oh, anchovies. No. No anchovies. No little furry fucking suckers.
I'm getting me. All right, going back to Wi-Fi. It's crazy.
As medicine
I mean, it's
goes,
like worse over there.
here you go. It was employed as a medicine. It was thought to be one of the best cures for many ailments, including dog bites, dysentery, ulcers, chronic diarrhea, constipation, makes you shit and it stops you from shitting. Garam was even used as an ingredient in cosmetics or for removal of unwanted hair and freckles.
Well,
Oh,
I
listen,
guess I know
whatever.
too much.
Motherfucking gross. Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's have a look what lupus is as in disease-wise.
Very interesting.
Immune system attacks
I'm
your
over
own
here.
systems. Lupus can affect many different bodies, including your joints, skin, kidneys, blood cells, brain, heart, and lungs. Lupus can be difficult to
Very
diagnose.
interesting.
Facial rash that resembles the wings of a butterfly unfolding across both cheeks.
You gotta understand my comedy, because I'm sitting here listening to half of what you just said, and it's just funny. All right, stop. But yeah, because they're cutting me in and out. It's happened before. Hit me. Hit me.
Symptoms: fatigue, fever. The rash, joint pain, fingers and toes that turn white or blue when exposed to cold or during stressful periods. Raynaud's phenomenon. D, shortness of breath, chest pain, dry eyes, headaches, confusion, memory loss.
Yeah, that's what they want. They want memory loss, confusion, brain numbing. They want to numb your brain and make you die slowly so they can make some money off you. Sound familiar?
Oh, listen, the thing is with this stuff, it's everywhere. You know what I mean? This is everywhere.
Yeah.
And people have been seeing this for years, but and talking about it for friggin' years. It's just for some odd reason, and that's my thing, is why nobody
Why
has
encode it?
stopped it. You know what I mean? Like, why haven't the people come together? Surely over a period of time, you would think little by little people would wake up. I mean, how long does it fucking take to wake up? So obviously,
I'm
according
gonna
to
go
this,
change account.
yeah.
Let me go change accounts and see if that helps. Because I got other accounts. I'll just come in and see what happens. The internet's doing funny things right now. So I'll be back.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. Where is it? This book introduces a very complex subject in the way that it gives children a good, simple explanation of the sheer vastness of the Earth's history and how the Earth has evolved over the billions of years. It uses bold language, artwork to grab the reader. The book demonstrates how the planet evolves from one with no life through the timeline with a straightforward explanation. The excellent illustrations, the look again section. Where did I see it? I saw it on the description thingy. Where is it? Ah, come on. It disappeared. How can it disappear? I sawed it. I fucking sawed it. Okay, let me go back. Let me go back. Where is it? Here. Look. Stories about transitelic race, and there are lots of opportunities of some national stereotyping. I thought the backwards lettering of the Russian team was a clever touch and was amused by the truly awful puns when accusations abound about whether someone had split olive oil on the road. So there you go, a Russian team actually added that in. I wonder if there's a whole complete series of this. There must be, surely. Written by. Oh, there you go. There's the Chariots race. There's another one, a new one. Oh, that one looks like it's messing with the ocean. Oh, shit. Is that all of them? Oh, that's various versions. I was going to say, you've got to be fucking kidding me. The comics, the illustrated albums, the animated films, the live action films. Let's see. Oh, I hope I don't get some porn shit fucking jump up at me. Which is highly likely. Oh, look, it comes in film version. There. Oh, wow. Check that shit out. There you go, people. Something to friggin' check out. Look at that. 67, 68, 76, 85, 86, 89, 94, 206, 2006, 2014. Oh, look at this. Asterix Conquers America. I wonder what that is. Let's see if it opens up. Involving several nationalities, ending up by being German as government was dissatisfied with the results of the last Asterix. Did not want to continue investing in a cartoon studio. Berlin Wall, for the sake of prosperity, we will say that Alberto Uderzo and his team allowed the film to be an Asterix one in spite of German director. Adapted from the album Asterix and the Great Crossing. obviously on video. What's this? The comics, I think we saw that. Holy shit. Collection of albums. I wonder if they're all into the there you go, Asterix in Britain, the big fight. The Shield, Olympic Games. I wonder if this is similar. I wonder if this is similar to the Illuminati cards, but just in comic form. Or let's see,
Well, that was
the falling sky. Oh, look at this. Could be. Could be.
let me lower that.
Missing scroll.
Hmm.
Okay, the one that we must have watched was the chariot race. But look at all of that. Asterix and
Yeah,
Sun.
you never know.
Sun or a sun? The Great Divide.
You know, I wonder how many other things. The Great Divide. Try that one. That's what they're trying to do right now. It's Great Divide. What other? I can't see it, so what's the other titles? Just curious.
Okay, there's the Great
Sorry,
Divide.
I had to reset.
Can there ever be a happy ending for star-crossed lovers, melodrama, and da-da-da, whose fathers are rival chieftains of the same village? The only hope is to call... You've dropped out again, mate, and it's telling me I can't let you up because it says your guest... Oh, there you go. Okay. I think. No. To stream. There you go. No. Obliques, get it fixed. Sort out the
Yeah,
huge
that's weird.
military might of Rome. Watch out for some interesting new magic potions. Definitely worthwhile looking through all of this.
Yeah.
They must be popular if
Yeah,
they come
well,
out in
anything
language.
with a code. I mean, these people. If it has a code, then yeah, maybe they are using it for secret because that's a code. You know. What they just presented was a code on that. So that was definitely interesting. Take your mind off the latest events. It's very interesting, I'll tell you.
Definitely. Got all of that. I didn't even fucking think that was... I'd never even heard of that comic. And yet it's written in so many different languages and what have you. Comic book, whatever you want to call it. Albums, friggin' movies. But yeah. I don't know, people. Don't know what to tell you. There's lots of clues out there. You just gotta want to find them. Oh, God. And here's me thinking that my internet was going to give me grief today, considering that I had shitty weather and you keep dropping out, T. That's that one. Where am I going here? Oh, I should refresh this actually, just in case it gets stuck, which I think it just did or was stuck. Okay, that's better. That's better. It kind of got stuck. Okay. French comic face crime, masked Roman dying belief of stopping at nothing to win. Battles his way across Italy in a chariot race against the Romans. But definitely shit to pick, like there's heaps there to pick to pieces, people. A lot of stuff to pick to pieces if that's what, if we're looking for different things. But yeah.
Yeah, they publicly say what their plans are, though. So maybe, I don't know. That's what they do, though. They're like literally, we're going to use the military and other forces, and we're going to go vaccinate you in a whole new way. They come and tell you. They're not scared to tell you. They tell you in movies. They tell you in songs. They tell you
Well, mate, look at Gates and his fucking missus. They're literally sitting there smirking their little fucking tits off, right? Because they know that people aren't doing anything. People aren't pushing back. People are just going with it. So they can see, they can sit there. They can literally rub it in your face. That's like that other video, I don't know if you saw, of Gates on his own. He was at an interview somewhere and somebody must have asked him something about the vaccine when he goes, oh, we take that needle and we stick it right into them. And I was like looking at that thinking, dude, like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, the guy the way I look at it is goes back to an old, a very old war, older than anybody's ever been in. It's the longest war, and it goes for the war for your soul. That's what it goes back to. These people have lost theirs, and they are without one. And that's what I see. Did you hear all that?
I did.
Or did I get cut out of it? Wow, amazing. All right, well, all I know is it's basically a spiritual warfare that's going on right now. It is. I mean, look, we got liars lying to everybody. It's the crown. All different kinds of things came out that just doesn't make sense. It has the Illuminati all over it, right? They at least planned it. We know this much from Lockstep and Event 201. Now, you don't plan something. I mean, yeah, sure, they could release a bioweapon, but did they? I mean, we need the evidence of a bioweapon release, mass death, mass graves. And I'm not just talking the one on Easter Island. I'm talking mass graves. Like, it's not true. There's not 60 million people dying, okay? Or 40, or 20, or 10, or 5, or 2, or 1.
They were calling out if I could have listened to the prick's voice, I would have.
So once we get to that point, what does it matter? Cigarettes kill more.
I couldn't listen to the prick's voice, right? But he was saying how many people in Victoria, Melbourne, Victoria, had actually died, and they were calling out the age groups. These were all elderly people.
Course. Right.
In their 90s, in their 70s, in their 60s, in their, do you know what I mean? Like all elderly people.
Right, of course. And you know why?
I'm trying to scroll fucking up to the Gut, are you still in here, mate? I'm trying to go back to the first link that you dropped, and I can't get that far back. I can get that far back in the dashboard of StreamYards, but I can't go that far back in YouTube.
What, for the guy with the kid and all that?
The fuckwit, yeah. But I
Part.
wanted the one where that he was kissing a kid on the mouth. Yeah, Daniel
Right,
Andrews
that's pretty,
kissing a child on the lips.
yeah, that's
But
pretty
see, when
wicked. Right
I put my fucking cursor over it in the dashboard part, it won't let me copy it.
It's interesting. You know, I've been dealing with like internet crap. They've been getting me, knocking me off or whatever, spamming, whatever they do. I don't know.
Damn.
I've had it happen before in the past. I've lost many live streams because of their crap.
I'll have to go back and see if I can. Well, I can't. In YouTube, I can only go back as far as the last one that got put in was Once More Creepy Dan. I don't have anything. I can't get further back on anything else. Bastard.
On your history?
Yeah.
On your, you went to Google history and they won't let you go back?
No. I'm talking about the ones that got put, the links that got dropped into chat. The last one that I can get to,
because you can't scroll that far.
Once More Creepy Dan. Before to that, she dropped about 3 or 4, but I can't get back to them.
Right, because too much chatting.
That's my link. That's my link. Yeah, no, that's the only one that I can get back to. I was going to show them as well, but not a drama. When a virus outbreak with origins. Oh, no, that's, say it didn't keep up. It's got to keep up. StreamYards. Got to keep up. People, listen, I'm going to end it there. I just wanted to share that with you guys. I thought it was interesting. I will drop the links and whatever into the description of the video once the video loads. T, thanks for coming on and hanging with me. Everybody else that's in chat, thank you kindly for hanging. If you've been here for the full thing, thank you very much. For those that have dropped in and dropped out, thank you for dropping in. And I will catch you guys the next time I find something interesting, I think. Oh, shit. I lost T again. Well, there you go. I was ending it anyway, mate. So, yeah. Let me give you this while we're still here, and I'll drop it into there. But I will put it into, what do you call it? I will put it into the description box for everybody so that you can see. But yeah, I will catch everybody. T, if you can hear me, mate, I'm ending it here. I will catch everybody next time. And thank you all kindly for hanging. And yeah, there's some homework. Go out there and study the books. I'll catch you all later, people. Let me stop sharing so I know where I am. Okay, I'll stop sharing. Later, Elizabeth. I didn't see you sneak in there. I must have been looking at the monitor. Anyway, later, peoples. And where are we?